Hey everyone, and welcome to the complete Chaotic Card Price Guide. The purpose of this video is to help you have a better understanding of the history, rarity, and value of Chaotic cards. Prices are always fluctuating, so I won't just simply be stating prices in this video, which I know is kind of dumb for a price guide, but again, the purpose is to help you have a better understanding of why Chaotic cards sell for the prices they sell for. As always, if you simply want to know what a card is currently going for, the best way to find that out is to go on eBay and search by sold listings. But if I can borrow just a little bit of your time, I'd love to show you what makes Chaotic so special and why so many of these cards continue to hold so much value. And last thing I'll say is I'm bound to mess something up in this video. It's a lot of information. This video took me a long time to make. So if I mess something up or if I leave something out and you're a diehard collector, please feel free to drop that in the comments. I want this video to be a helpful resource for everyone to learn more about Chaotic. So again, feel free to leave that in the comments. And last thing is that I will leave in the description some links to helpful resources for those that are trying to learn more. So with that, let's get into the video. The origins of Chaotic can be traced back to 1999 when a series of collectible figures were released in Denmark called Draco Heads. Following Draco Heads, Grolls and Gorks was released by the same company as a sequel trading card game. While there does appear to be a fan base for these collectibles and cards, they don't seem to have much crossover with the Chaotic community. Although some hardcore fans like myself do appreciate their historical significance. Shortly after Grolls and Gorks was released, it was adapted into a new trading card game called Chaotic Now or Never. This game was also based out of Denmark, but much of the later US version of Chaotic began to take form through this card game. Cards were released in booster packs and starter decks. Currently, the majority of these cards have very limited sales data. However, many cards are direct predecessors of later beloved Chaotic cards, most notably Madcap as Maxor and Kaor as Kaor. This set also features Kazdan, Tom, and the Chaos Rock. This set is similar to Series 1, however, some of these cards are ultra rare holographic cards, and they are highly valued by Chaotic collectors. Most notably, Kaor, whose character design remained very similar throughout the rest of Chaotic's history, and Madcap, who began to reflect his final creature design much more closely. Kazdan and Tom are also notable chase cards. Series 2 also featured weapon cards and location cards. Many of the locations reflect very similar locations that were later made in the US version of Chaotic. The exact print run is unknown, but this set is widely accepted as the most limited print set across all of Chaotic's history. The print run was likely cut short due to it being the last Now or Never set ever made. This set featured even more cards that closely reflected the eventual US version of Chaotic. This set was also significant for having all 5 tribes represented. More on that later. The most notable chase cards from this set are the ultra rares. In no particular order, there is Lod Van Bloot, Kazdan, Cannon, Prince Mudinu, Ani, Matrice, and Tom. Prices for these are almost impossible to say due to their rarity and lack of sales data. And honestly, the same could be said about the rest of the set. They just pop up so rarely, it's really hard to know what these are worth. In 2007, Chaotic Now or Never was adapted by an American company into simply Chaotic. But before we jump into the sets, I'd like to cover some of the basics. Chaotic launched as a physical trading card game with a fully compatible online companion. A television show featuring the same creatures, locations, and objects was also released at the same time, and later a video game as well. The television show followed Tom Major and his friends as they explored the fantasy world of Chaotic. Perim is the name of the place where all of these creatures, locations, and objects existed. In Perim, players could scan creatures and other items for use later in gameplay. When players would actually play Chaotic, they would physically transform into their creatures and fight each other in a simulation. In Perim, there are 4 original tribes, with a 5th later being discovered. These 5 tribes each have their own unique identities. Overworlders are animal-like creatures who live in the overworld. They're known for their wisdom and water abilities and music abilities. Mopedians are reptilian-like creatures who live in the desert of the overworld. They are known for their speed, air abilities, and invisibility. Underworlders are demonic-like creatures who live in the underworld. They're known for their power, fire abilities, and intimidating brute force. Danians are bug-like creatures that live in Mount Pillar, which is in the underworld. They are known for their courage, earth abilities, and hive abilities. Marillions are the fifth tribe that was later discovered. They are aquatic, alien-like creatures. They are known for their wisdom, water abilities, unique music abilities, and brainwashing abilities. All tribes are jockeying for position in a quest for the source of ultimate power, the Kothica. Other card types in Chaotic are Battle Gear, which get equipped to your creature during combat, attacks which your creatures perform during combat, Musics, which are a mix of music and magic, which are like spells that your creatures cast, and locations where the creatures fight. Looking at a creature card might be kind of daunting if you're new to Chaotic, but I'm going to cover some of the basics to help you understand what all this information means. Let's use Maxor as an example. Creature name, tribe, also indicated by card color, set symbol, stats, courage, power, wisdom, speed, and energy, music counters, which again are like spells, and these are the elements: fire, air, earth, and water. As you can see, Maxor only has fire and earth. In order to do damage with attack cards, the creature must have the corresponding element to execute that part of the attack. Card type, first edition symbol, card ability, flavor text, and code for digital copy. The set symbol doubles as the rarity indicator as well. Here's a guide showing you how to read the rarity of the cards as well as what those rarities mean. Jumping back to the stats, it's important to note that every creature card has a minimum and maximum possible number for each stat. Courage, power, wisdom, and speed can fluctuate as much as 20 points in increments of 5, while energy can fluctuate as much as 10 points in increments of 5. The stats shown on the Chaotic backup site are the medium values. Brian Gannon confirmed that the system for printing stats made it so that they were printed on a bell curve, meaning medium stats are the most common while minimum and maximum stats were less common. Note that music counters do not vary. Because higher stats make the creature more powerful in gameplay, Chaotic collectors often view higher stats as more valuable. The most important stat to most collectors and players is energy. As you can imagine, having higher health at the start of combat is a huge help. Second to energy, collectors usually value the stats that correlate with the creature's elements. As an example, typically a creature with the air element would be more valuable if it also had maximum speed. These are the stat and element combinations that typically go together. Collectors also value cards that have unusually high stats, even if they don't have the correlating element. The holy grail of stat collecting is the elusive 5-max. A 5-max creature is when all 5 stats are at the maximum possible value. This is so rare that when a 5-max card is discovered, it's likely the only one in the world. Obviously there's no guarantee of that, but nearly every 5-max card that I've ever seen has been the only one of that specific creature that has ever come to light. Congrats, you now understand the basics of Chaotic cards and you are just a little bit nerdier for it. Now let's talk about sealed products and the different ways that they were distributed. Every set except for the first set had a very similar release as far as sealed products and packs. These sets are Zenith of the Hive, Silent Sands, Beyond the Doors, Rise of the Oligarch, Turn of the Tide, Forged Unity, and Alliances Unraveled. All sets had first edition booster boxes and first edition blister packs. Booster boxes always have 24 packs with 9 cards in each pack. Each pack has 4 common cards, 3 uncommon cards, and 2 rare cards. However, 1 out of every 3 packs has a rare card that has been upgraded to a super rare. and 1 out of every 24 packs has a rare card that has been upgraded to an ultra rare card. So each booster box guarantees at least 1 ultra rare card, with some boxes containing even more. Blister packs technically have the same odds, but obviously it's harder to track since blisters were meant to be sold individually. Note that for the last 3 sets, Turn of the Tide, Forged Unity, and Alliances Unraveled, the pull rates were the same, but instead of a rare card being upgraded, it was a common card that would get upgraded. Also, Alliances Unraveled ditched the uncommon rarity altogether. For all of these sets, there wasn't a true unlimited version ever printed, but premium edition packs were the closest we got for some sets. These packs only contained super rare and ultra rare cards from the first 3 sets. These cards are unlimited because they lack the first edition symbol. These cards also have a unique gold foiling. These cards are widely considered less valuable by most collectors because these cards were printed with much easier pull rates, making them far more common. There were also tin pack bundles that were released. These tins are designed to look like the scanners from the TV show. They usually contain 5 packs and 2 super rare cards in the front. Sometimes the second card can be upgraded to an ultra rare. Typically, the tins with the later sets are worth more and seem to be more rare. Note that the tins from the Marillion Invasion era only have 4 booster packs. The 4th set, Beyond the Doors, has starter decks and starter deck cases. There are 4 different pre-built decks that you can get from a case. These decks are Overworld, Underworld, Mepedian, and Danian. These pre-built decks have the same cards, but they also contain 4 rare foil cards and 1 super rare card, and some decks contain an ultra rare card instead of the super rare card. Note that there are some other rare cards that are a part of the pre-built deck, but these are different because they do not have the same foil that typical rare cards have. An easy way to check for this is if the card says rare in the top right, then it's a part of the pre-built deck and likely was printed far more than the non-starter deck equivalent. There are also starter decks and starter deck cases for the set Alliances Unraveled. These also feature pre-built decks from the 4 main tribes, but there's no way of knowing what deck you have from looking at the packaging. These decks are unique because they contain 3 rare past cards and 1 super rare past card, with the potential of that super rare being upgraded to an ultra rare. More on past cards later. These decks also contain an Alliances Unraveled booster pack. Now, you're probably wondering why I've been avoiding the first set, Dawn of Perim. That's because I wanted to save the best for last. Dawn of Perim has the most types of releases, which can get a little complicated. So with all other sets out of the way, let's dive in. Dawn of Perim has 4 distinct print runs. First is first edition ripple foil, which is what we call this wavy foiling. Second is first edition non-ripple foil, which you can tell by the first edition stamp and the stat box size. Notice this gap. Next is Unlimited, which lacks the first edition symbol and has a wider stat box. Then we have Tin Edition, which was only available in 10 bundles as the card in front. This print run is a little bit odd because it has many features of both first edition and Unlimited. My assumption is that since it was printed after the true first edition print run, these cards were meant to be unlimited, but they do have a first edition stamp. I feel that you could argue either way that these cards are unlimited or first edition. As I'm editing this, I need to make a quick interjection, which is that the unlimited print run was actually last. So the tin version was third and then unlimited was last. And technically you could include the premium edition cards as a 5th and final print run of some super and ultra rare cards. Rare cards also have a visible difference from first edition to unlimited. First edition cards have what we call copper foiling for the name and set symbol. Unlimited rares look like all other rares in Chaotic with that foiling across the whole card. Oh, and one last thing, super rare first edition cards don't say super in the top right. You just know it's super because of the rainbow holographic foiling. On to the products. Being the first set, there are starter decks and starter deck cases that were released. 2 pre-built decks were released, Overworld and Underworld. These pre-built decks contain the same cards, but like the other decks, there are 3 rare cards and 1 super rare card with a chance of that super rare being upgraded to an ultra rare. These starter decks were printed in 3 different versions: Beta, First Edition, and Unlimited. Beta and First Edition decks both contain First Edition cards, but Beta decks always contain a Ripple Foil card, while First Edition decks rarely contain a Ripple Foil card. The way you can tell a deck is a Beta deck is by this sticker. Unlimited decks contain unlimited print run cards. For booster boxes, there is a First Edition and Unlimited Edition. First Edition boxes can have Ripple Foil cards, but it's not a guarantee. Unlimited booster boxes contain Unlimited Edition cards. Last thing I'll say is that as far as I can tell, there were 2 different versions of blister packs for Dawn of Perim. One was significantly larger than the other. Now, my research and experience with this is very limited, but I have found that I've only been able to pull Ripple Foil cards from the larger blister pack. Again, I don't know enough to say that this is a guarantee, like I can say the Beta decks are a guarantee, but it's something to keep in mind as a possibility. Okay, now that we've covered the basics, let's get into the individual cards. Known by most fans as simply Dawn of Perim, or DOP for short, this set is where it all began for most fans. This set also begins the first block. Blocks would follow a similar theme and are easily recognizable by the way the set symbol would progress. Dawn of Perim is known by collectors as the nostalgic origins of Chaotic, and it's known by competitive players as the beginnings of Underworld Burn. A while back, I did an interview with some of the creators / playtesters of Chaotic cards, and they joked that when they joined the product, they were told that for Dawn of Perim, there's only one playable deck: Underworld Burn. Underworld Burn is a deck type that uses underworld creatures, typically with the fire element, to simply do big damage as fast as possible. The centerpiece from this deck from Dawn of Perim is Kaor. Kaor is the leader of the underworld, which gave him a prominent role in the television show as a bit of an anti-hero. His card features the fire element, high power, very high energy, and an absurd 3 music counters. Just to give you an idea of how ridiculous this card is, there are only 15 cards in Chaotic that have 3 music counters. No creature has more. Nearly all of these cards are meant to be backline support creatures. They wouldn't fight well because they have such low energy and would get knocked out too quick. 9 of these 3 music creatures have half the energy Kaor has, and only 1 has more energy. And that card didn't come out until the last and final set. And even still, that card doesn't have as favorable of a stat and element combination that Kaor has. For those that are familiar with trading card games, you know about power creep. As more sets are released, the new cards are stronger and stronger to entice players to buy the new sets. It doesn't take long for entire sets of older cards to be completely irrelevant in the new meta. But Kaor is so ridiculous and so overpowered that in my opinion, he's still a very competitive card up until the end of Chaotic 7 sets later. With my love letter to Kaor out of the way, close behind in value is the show's hero, Maxor. While Maxor isn't quite as competitive as Kaor, Maxor is Tom's favorite creature and the leader of the overworld, making him a fan favorite. Other notable chase cards are Lord Van Bloot and Heptad. Both of these cards were starter deck exclusives, meaning a starter deck was the only way you could pull them. The Ripple Foil versions of these cards are extremely rare. Note that this promo card is different from the set card, and this Lord Van Bloot was also printed in the Premium Edition set. Lord Van Bloot is a very powerful card and a character who has a very prominent role in the show, as he's always trying to challenge Kaor's right to the throne. Heptad is also a very unique card. He's the only creature who has the ability to use all 4 elements. While this doesn't translate really well into competitive play, it certainly makes him a very unique creature. It's also rumored that Heptad knows the location of the Kothica. Other notable starter deck exclusive cards are Ois, Dracnus, Interest, Zealed, Lake Kenepo, Underworld City, and Glacier Plains. Prince Mudinu and Lore are not starter deck exclusives, but they're very notable chase cards as well because they're the only super rare Mepedian and Danian cards from the first set. This is significant because that makes them the only Ripple Foil Mepedian and Danian cards ever to be printed. Nadrin, Bodil, and Hearing are also notable cards because of their importance in the TV show. Dawn of Perim was later printed in German and French as well. Zenith of the Hive, or ZOTH for short, was the second set ever released by Chaotic. This set is mainly known for its focus on the Danian tribe with the new ability, Hive. The most notable chase card in this set is Alexia, the Danian Queen. She is the only Danian leader ever printed in Chaotic. This card is somewhat playable for a specific strategy. The other ultra rare creatures that also hold some value are Hammerdoom Chantcaller, which has a sick name, and Remarvir, which I have no idea if I'm saying correctly. The only other card I feel worth mentioning from this set is Colmo. Maybe it's just me, but in my opinion, Colmo is the most competitive card from this whole set, with high energy and really powerful abilities that can really disrupt the opponent. Zenith of the Hive was also later printed in German, which featured a different foil treatment where the creatures were cropped out. While the German cards aren't as valuable as their English counterparts, many collectors do appreciate the better holographic foil. The German printing of Zenith also is the most notorious set for print errors. No set comes close. These are some of the errors that I have found from my experience. To me, the most notable German print error is the ultra rare Hammerdoom Chantcaller card. Not only are the stats incorrect, but they're also the wrong font, and they do not vary between cards. It was later discovered that these stats actually belong to a Lista card that was made for a player's guide. As mentioned, some Zenith cards were also printed in the later Premium Edition set. Silent Sands, or SS for short, is the third set released by Chaotic. This set is mainly known for its focus on the Mepedian tribe with new creature types, War Beasts and Conjurers. War Beasts are these large, powerful creatures that exhibit great physical abilities. However, they are so powerful that they often hurt themselves unless they are guided by Conjurers. Typically, a War Beast deck will feature 1 to 3 War Beasts on the front lines that are supported by Conjurers in the back. The most valuable chase card in this set is the War Beast Blasvatan. While later War Beasts proved to be a little more competitive with the nature of Power Slide, Blasvatan will always remain special to me as the first of his kind. Onrei Hep and Aparu are also notable ultra-rare chase cards. Aparu has a unique shape-shifting ability and plays an important role in the show, and Onrei Hep is the High Muge for the Mepedian tribe. There is also a rare War Beast, Uberon, and a common War Beast, Eerie. Eerie is actually one of the more competitive cards with a unique ability to move several spaces. Felfour is also a notable super rare card because of his unique role in the show. And last, Zelfi is a notable rare card because he's the only Mepedian creature in all of Chaotic with 3 music counters. Silent Sands was also printed in German with the updated foil treatment, and again, some Silent Sands cards were also printed in the Premium Edition set. OP Tournament was a mini set created for distribution at tournaments. Because this set wasn't created for mass markets, it's the most limited US Chaotic set ever printed. The only sealed product created for distribution was loose booster packs. These packs only had 3 cards each in them, and the pull rate for this set was unique. 2 commons per pack and 1 uncommon per pack. 1 in 3 packs upgrade the uncommon to a rare. 1 in 18 packs upgrade the uncommon to a super rare, and 1 in 75 packs upgrade the uncommon to an ultra rare. There are 2 main chase cards for this set, Castle Pillar and Getarek. Castle Pillar was the only ultra rare card from this set, and because of the rarity of the packs and the difficult pull rate, it's an obvious chase card. In my personal opinion, this is likely one of the most limited cards in all of Chaotic. Getarek is a super rare card in this set, but it's the only super rare creature card, making it highly sought after, especially with max energy. Kiru City is another notable card because it features Maxor overlooking his city. Beyond the Doors, or BTD for short, is the fourth Chaotic set. This set begins the second block. This block follows the story of the invasion of a new tribe, the Marillions. The Marillions are revealed and declare war on the 4 other tribes in a quest for total domination. This set also introduced the brainwashing mechanic. Certain creatures feature 2 abilities. One is used normally, but if your deck happens to feature a Marillion chieftain, then those cards now use their brainwashed ability instead. The most valuable card from this set is Tartarek Sai Overloader. This card is a powerful counter to the new Marillion creatures. Lista, Killeron, and Wrath Tab are not far behind in value as other notable ultra-rare chase cards. Nakrabe is another ultra-rare creature that always seems to be worth a little bit less than the others, but it has a really special place in my heart for the awesome menacing artwork. Primal Smash is an ultra-rare attack card that is also a highlight of this set. This card very simply does 20 base damage, which would normally cost you 2 build points, but instead it only costs you 1. This makes it a very powerful and very reliable card that is relevant with nearly every deck build. The starter deck exclusive chase cards are Abenabaku, Catharaz, and Tangeth Toborn in training. It's important to note that for this set, it's not possible to pull a non-starter deck exclusive card from a starter deck. Other notable cards is the fan favorite Gronmore, Ilks, Malef, and the very playable Umquad. For After the Hero is also a pretty good super rare card, but it was used in promotional blister packs, so there's a good reason to believe that it was printed far more than other super rare cards from that set. Other notable cards is the very powerful Aokua, the annoyingly playable Blades that when paired with Corral Husk armor becomes nearly unstoppable, the useful Destructozuka, and Awaki. From my point of view, there are 2 main deck types that have stood the test of time as the most competitive and easy to use decks. The first is Underworld Burn, as we discussed, and the second is the even more annoying Mepedian Strike deck. Mepedian Strike decks are known for using Mepedian creatures that rely on their speed and air. Uniquely, many of these creatures have invisibility abilities that allow them to do huge damage with their first attacks, leaving their opponents scrambling before they know what hit them. In my opinion, the first true Mepedian Strike card is Awaki. High energy, air, high speed, air 5 with an insane support boost if you use other Mepedians. This card may not be the most rare and it may not be the most valuable from the set, but in my opinion, it's one of the most reliable cards from one of the most reliable and competitive decks in all of Chaotic. Rise of the Oligarch, or ROTO for short, is the 5th Chaotic set and continues the Marillion invasion storyline. This set is known for introducing the leader of the evil Marillions, Ani. More on him later. And known for introducing the new mechanic, Fluid Morph. Fluid Morph mechanics may not make sense to you if you haven't played Chaotic, but I'll simply say that it allows certain Marillions to generate an absurd number of music counters. Where previously the most music counters any creature had was 3, now cards can generate far more than that over the course of a game. The chase card from this set is Ani the Oligarch. As stated, Ani is the leader of the Marillions and the main antagonist from the Chaotic TV show. There are many features that set this card apart, but most notably is it's the only double-sided card in all of Chaotic. Ani starts the game with his projection side up, but if you execute a very specific play using these cards, Ani can be flipped over to reveal his avatar side. This version of Ani has extremely high stats, making him very difficult to take down. For reference, Ani has a total of 900 stat points, and they don't vary. The next closest creature is Aokua, whose stats would max out at 495. Also, Ani is the only card to have holographic foiling on the creature and not the rest of the artwork. While Ani's card is certainly impressive and unique, it's not the most competitive strategy to use him because it requires a lot of resources to flip him. Not far behind in value is Headmaster Enkaija and Takinam the Shadow Knight. Headmaster Enkaija is a powerful ultra rare card that is a great addition to any strike deck. With both great support abilities and the ability to fight really well itself, in my opinion, this card is absolutely essential to have in the best possible strike deck. Takinam the Shadow Knight is also a very strong ultra rare card that probably has a little bit of a boost in value due to being an important character in the show. This set also features 4 other ultra rare creatures that are also great cards, with a personal favorite being Nadrin with this amazing artwork. Other standouts are the sisters Avena and Nevena. Note that Rasbama Darini and Hyun Paltanen were used as promotional cards in tins, so likely there's far more copies of these cards in existence. Gimli, Jornik, and Lamencall stand out as competitive cards from this set, while Hearing, Stelgar, and Felfor stand out as important characters from the TV show. You may have noticed that Felfor has changed tribes from the last time we talked about him. Turn of the Tide, or TOTT for short, is the 6th set released by Chaotic. This set continues the Marillion invasion storyline, with the Marillions continuing to advance on the other tribes. It's known for the legendary battle gears, the powerful creatures, and the extra rare chase cards, making this one of the most valuable sets in all of Chaotic. As mentioned, the new mechanic Legendary was introduced in this set. Legendary means that you can only have one legendary item in your deck. Prince Mudinu, Champion of the Guard, could only be pulled from 1 out of 288 hobby packs, making this the highest rarity creature from any set. Hobby packs were only found in booster boxes, so essentially you could only get this card from 12 booster boxes. This card is not only extremely rare, but it works well in a Mopedian strike deck, making this one of the most valuable cards in all of Chaotic. Yakis Spooker is another secret rare card from this set, only found in 1 out of 144 retail packs. Iflar is the other valuable card from this set. As the crown prince of the Mopedians, this card is highly sought after for how powerful its abilities are. This card is the definition of what a strike deck should be, and therefore it's highly valued by players and collectors. Close behind in value is Interest Nature Force and Lord Van Blue, Servant of Ani. Both of these are known for being very competitive cards, as well as prominent characters in the show. Personally, I believe Lord Van Blue, Servant of Ani is the second most powerful card in the entire game. One of the main ways to deal damage in Chaotic is by using elemental attacks, and when Lord Van Blute's ability is executed, it completely shuts down the opponent's ability to do that. Topar is also a valuable ultra rare card from this set. Nequin is a rare card from this set, but to me it stands out as arguably the most competitive rare card in all of Chaotic. His elements, stats, and abilities make him an incredibly strong frontline fighter. Noaz, Macanaz, Evergreen Tunic, and Levitar also stand out as very playable cards. Forged Unity, or FU for short, is the 7th set released by Chaotic and the final in the Marillion invasion block. This set is known for the conclusion of the Marillion invasion as the 4 other tribes unite to defeat a common enemy. It's also known for the many cards that promote synergy between tribes, promoting the use of a multi-tribe deck. This set is also known for having updated foiling for super rare and ultra rare cards. Like the last set, this set also has a 1 out of 288 hobby pack chase card, Carnowin. While it's not a very powerful attack card, it's mainly known for being extremely rare. And this set has a 1 out of 144 retail pack chase card, Simalin. The main chase cards from this set are Kaor the Fierce, Maxor Protector of Perim, Koror, and Lore Ancestral Caller. Kaor is extremely powerful with Fire 10, making him the centerpiece for the very competitive Underworld Burn deck. Kaor is unique, meaning only one Kaor card can be in a deck. So while the first Kaor card certainly has its strengths, this Kaor card has the competitive edge to do massive damage in an Underworld burn deck. Maxor is also very competitive with a unique ability that becomes more powerful over the course of combat. Koror is a pure war beast with insane stats and tons of recklessness. Lore is a very unique blend of powerful Muge that can also fight on the front line. In my opinion, it's one of only 3 creatures that have 3 Mugic counters and can also fight on the front line. Boam is the final ultra rare creature from this set, but has always fallen a little behind in value, likely to it not being quite as competitive as the others. The last ultra I want to mention is Glacier Plains Marillion Heat Cannon, with the unique ability for either player to win the game immediately. This is the only win condition card in all of Chaotic. Tengeth Toborn, Grant K, Bareth Beyond, and Goram also stand out as the most valuable super rare cards. All 4 are generals for their given tribe as they team up to fight the Marillions. Gigantropper, no idea how to say it, is another notable super rare card because it's very powerful in its ability to immediately transform any creature into a strong fighter. Avena, Jor, Nevena, and Kepian are also rare standouts as the lieutenants from each tribe. Bodil's Dagger is another notable battle gear that can deal huge damage in the right hands. Anarchiar and Glapal are also standout competitive cards. This set also has Abika, which is a personal favorite artwork. Alliances Unraveled, or AU for short, was the final set of Chaotic, but the first in the new block, Secrets of the Lost City. As the US economy faced turmoil, Chaotic's investors began to fall through, and unfortunately this brought Chaotic down as well. Alliances Unraveled was the last set ever released, and the print run was cut short. This, combined with the fact that so many cards in this set are very competitive with amazing artwork, has caused this set to be a fan favorite for both players and collectors. Starter decks were released for this new block, and these decks feature past cards. For the first time, we got to see a glimpse into a different era of Perim. These past cards were starter deck exclusives, with some fan favorites being Ixik and Kiru. But the premier chase cards from these starter decks are the tribeless creatures: Smilden, Probuscar, Chromax, and Ursus. These prehistoric creatures don't belong to any tribe and were featured in fan favorite episodes from the TV show. Kids like myself marveled at how powerful these tribeless creatures were in the show, and we dreamed of the day that we could wield those cards ourselves. Finally, with the release of these new starter decks, we had our opportunity. Ursus and Chromax specifically are the main ultra rare chase cards from these decks. They are very popular and very competitive cards. Ursus is a pure tank. 3 Mugic counters and a max energy of 85 is absurd. Chromax is also very strong with 2 elements, high energy, and a great defensive ability. Both of these cards are extremely strong without relying on too specific of a strategy that can be countered by the opponent. Call and Prexor Chasm the Blight are other ultra rare starter deck exclusives that remain valuable. Note that you cannot pull a non-starter deck exclusive card from these decks, but these decks do contain a booster pack where you can pull any other card from the set. This set features 10 non-starter deck exclusive ultra rare cards that are all very highly sought after. In my personal opinion, the number 1 card from this set and the most powerful card in the entire game is Zemul, Lord Van Bloot's Enforcer. Zemul has decent energy, high courage, the earth element, and 1 Mugic counter. But where he really stands out is his ability. If Zemul is engaged, opposing creatures cannot play Mugic or abilities. If you don't know how to play Chaotic, all you need to know is that playing Mugic and abilities is about half the game, locking up not 1 but 2 of their gameplay mechanics while you roam free and attack and defend however you please. Gintani the Forgotten is a Mepedian war beast that is so powerful they basically assumed you will single-handedly wipe out your opponent with it. For context, this attack card would normally deal 10 damage, but with Gintani it would deal a whopping 30 damage. And unlike other war beasts, Gintani does not have recklessness, which allows you to be much more creative with the other creatures you choose as support. Next are the high muses from each tribe. Nadrin and Kopon are standouts, with Kopon being a notable addition to the Underworld burn deck. Next is Aparu Metallic Ally, which had an important role in the show, Nimi, and Falmakin. Last but certainly not least is Zerium Armor. Without a doubt, the most valuable battle gear in all of Chaotic for both its rarity and playability. In my opinion, nearly every deck in Chaotic could be made better with Zerium Armor. It was also heavily featured in the show. Oh, and there is one battle gear that's a little more valuable, but we'll get to him later. Super rares from this set are also highly sought after, with the standouts being Loma Desert Wanderer, Aremia, Dalgad, Ketak, and Tauren. Headmaster and Kaija is also a valuable card that works well with strike decks, but it's important to note that this card as well as Iliar were used as a promo card of sorts in several blister packs, making them far more common than other super rare cards. Consuming Cacophony and Flameblade of Siren are powerful burn deck cards, and Before the Storm is a powerful strike deck attack. Castle Momark is also an important location because in the lore of Chaotic, many creatures were actually brought to life in a Frankenstein-like fashion in this castle. Magmon Engulfed is also a notable rare card because of its usefulness in a burn deck, and Ninren is also notable for its high stats as a war beast. Bi-Mower Cycle is an extremely powerful battle gear that allows creatures to move a little too freely, and Drill Dozer is a reliable battle gear that gives creatures an energy boost. Notable commons from this set are the Elemental Servants and Ulmar Purathon Racer that works well with burn decks. During the release of Alliance's Unraveled, some pack bundled tins were released that featured a clear booster pack that contained pre-release cards from the next set, Fire and Stone. Fire and Stone was never fully released, but we did get a taste of what was to come with this 12-card mini set. I don't really think it's fair to say any of these cards stand out as notable chase cards, but it's worth mentioning that there was only one super rare in this set, which is Bodil Flame Drill Researcher. The last card types that I'll talk about are promotional cards. These cards were handed out at different events and could not be pulled from packs. Here is a guide showing nearly all promo cards and where they likely originated from. There are a few promotional cards that stand out from the pack as the most rare. The first I want to talk about are the Demo Deck promo cards. These cards came packaged like this as a complete starter deck. There's an Overworld and an Underworld version. These contain the same cards as the regular Dawn of Perim starter decks, but these are unique because they do not have a code on the bottom. These demo decks were created before any Dawn of Perim cards, making these some of the earliest Chaotic cards ever created. They were also very limited. When I asked Brian Gannon about these decks, he told me that only 150 of each type were ever made. This information is not widely known, making this a very niche product in an already very niche market. While I value the historical value and significance of these cards, we've yet to see any high price sales of these decks. And I saved the best for last because the last cards that I'll be discussing in this video are the three most rare cards in all of Chaotic. Tied for second place are two cards. The 2007 New York Comic-Con demo cards, Blugon and Rothar. Confirmed by Gannon, these are the first US Chaotic cards ever printed. The cards Blugon and Rothar were printed in the first set of Chaotic, but these cards have some key differences. Some demo cards have a white border on the back and some do not, but Gannon has confirmed that both are authentic. Gannon also stated that only 150 copies of each card were ever printed, with less likely ever being handed out. And finally, last but certainly not least, is the Drawskin, a promotional battle gear that was given out at the World's Championship. It was also featured in a fan favorite episode and has a very powerful ability. Without a doubt, it's the most rare and valuable Chaotic card in existence. Gannon confirmed that only 50 copies were ever printed, with less likely ever being handed out. And I believe that is everything. So again, if I misspoke or if I left something out, please feel free to drop that in the comments. And I'm hopeful this video will be a good resource for those who are either brand new to the hobby or coming back to it. But yeah, I mean, this video took me forever to make. It's currently about midnight and I'm wrapping this thing up. So again, I hope you guys enjoy it and I hope it's useful for some of you guys. If you don't know, obviously this channel is all about chaotic. That's pretty much all I do. So if you want to stick around for that, please do. And yeah, appreciate you guys and I'll talk to you later. Peace.